without further ado, it is our privilege to welcome Bill and Tony Lipuma.
Say something? Go ahead.
You guys sit down.
Okay,
Bill, sit down first.
Here, Dad, sit down. Sit over there.
You get over there. I'll get in the middle.
Want to get in the middle, Mike?
I can yell. Can everybody hear this?
Yes.
Sweet. I'd rather not use the mic. Take it.
I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. You know I love you all. You've been with me a long time. You made me what I am today. And I'm so proud that you come out to see me. I'm just a hot dog man. But I love you all. Believe me when I tell you that. It's from the heart. I love you. And God's been good to me. But I'd like to say something about this town. This town is wonderful. It is something. There's such a history here. On my land alone, there we found, when they built the bridge, we found 2 mills. One mill was before the nail was invented, and there were wooden pegs the size of a $50 and a foot long. Those were the nails. Now nobody has ever mentioned that in our history books. But there, and then another thing, after years in the building, I had to take the ceiling tile off, and up there were pulleys from the mills. It's unbelievable, and they're still up there. They were done with an axe, and the bar is there, and all the pulleys are there. Listen, I'm so happy to be here. I want you to meet my son, Tony, who's the boss now, and who's doing a hell of a job.
All right, now you get to listen to me. I'm going to ask you guys questions.
Okay.
All right, you hold your mic. I'm going to talk loud enough so y'all can hear me, right? All right, so we're just going to loosen up here with some questions. So
Okay.
each of you are going to answer my questions, all right? So we know it's 50 years, right?
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So I want to know, where did each of you grow up? Bill, where'd you grow up at?
I grew up on the east side, Kilbourne, Outer Drive, and Gratiot section,
Okay.
which is a nice section, east side.
And Tony, where'd you grow up?
And I grew up in East Detroit between 9 and 10 on Kelly Road. And then we moved out here when we were in 7th grade.
All right, Bill, where'd you go to high school?
I went to Catholic Central High.
Oh,
I couldn't pass the test at De La Salle. So I went over there.
Tony, where'd you go to high school?
I went to Adams High.
Adams
Yes.
All right, so who's married? Bill, you married?
Am I married? Yes, yes, I am. My wife married.
Where is she?
I'm 65 years.
Yeah, all right. How many kids do you have?
I have 3 children, 2 daughters and 1 son. Great kids.
Who's your son? Who's your son?
My son is Tony.
Oh,
Right
okay.
here.
I got that. All right, Tony, you're married?
Yeah, I'm married. My wife Jody is sitting right there, and I have 3 kids. I'm proud of all of them. Very proud of all of them. And here's my daughter right up in front, Stephanie. Works at Google.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, not selling hot dogs. She's that good. All right, so how old were you when you had your first hot dog?
When I had my first hot dog, well, I must have been about 7 years old, because we were very careful on what we ate. We ate Italian style all the time, but we did have hot dogs occasionally.
Okay, Tony, how old were you?
I'm guessing here, I'm probably saying around, I don't know, how old were you when you had that restaurant, that Coney on Van Dyke? I think 8 years old, 9 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, mustard or ketchup?
I love ketchup.
Mustard or ketchup?
Ketchup. Ketchup on everything.
All right, so was our restaurant, our Lipumas, the first Lipumas?
No, I had 4 or 5 other places besides that. I started in St. Clair Shores, between 10 and 11 Mile Road. From there I went to Gratiot and 6 Mile Road. I had a Mondo's there, open around the clock. I had all the show people come. There was a nightclub next door. I could tell you a lot of stories about that.
Stripper dogs, yeah. Okay. Sorry. All right. So how'd you come up with the name, our name?
Lipuma is my name.
I want to see if I can trick you guys.
That's my name.
Dad, but your first Coney on Van Dyke, you called it Aristotle's. because of Aristotle's Onassis. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
On Van Dyke, the one in Utica, it was called Aristotle's.
Jeez, I guess so. They should have thought.
Whatever he said.
I'm right? Mine was called Aristotle's, yeah.
There you go. All right. So my wife wants to know what's in the sauce in the coney sauce.
Don't tell him, I'd have
Well,
to.
that's a secret.
She has.
From Pakistan. I can't tell you. It's our own variety. We do certain things to that chili, and the people seem to like it. I try to give you the best. Honestly, I try to give you the best. And my son does.
That chili is like a drug.
So I was talking to Mayor Ray, and actually this is kind of cool. So our sister city, Rochester Hills, Mayor Barnett is now the mayor of all the mayors in the United States for 1 year.
Yeah.
So tonight they are celebrating that, I think at Meadowbrook, for a little bit longer, and Brian is bringing all the mayors in the country to our city and co-hosting with Mayor Dugan in Detroit at the Royal Park, and we're going to get a shot at national exposure that comes with grants, all kinds of stuff. So we're proud of that. So they're having that event there tonight. So Mayor Ray, I know, is going to try to scoot back over. He didn't get here yet, did he? So I told him I was going to bag on him a little bit. So he wanted me to know, what's the most conies you ever ate at one time, Bill?
At one time, listen, I really can't eat a lot of them, but I can't. The most I ate was 3.
Did you throw up?
No, I didn't, but I want to say something to you. I held a contest there, and I was giving $100 away to the guy who can eat the most hot dogs. Of course, I had him sign papers if they got sick before or after. I had Judge Felice was my judge, and there were certain rules. There were a lot of rules, and the most was eaten in a half hour was 18, and it was a guy by the name of Bill Wright. He was 18 years old. So he bought his buddies a case of beer, and he bought him a muffler for his car.
All right, Tony, what's the most you've eaten?
I'd probably eaten 4 or 5. I still love them. I love them so much for Lent, I give hot dogs up for Lent. I still eat at least 1 hot dog a day.
Did you throw up when you ate yours?
Hell no.
Good. We see that what's going on with Joey Chestnut and all those guys, that's a lot of hot dogs. Bill, does it bother you that whenever I go see Tony, it's like I never get to go to my cottage very much? Does it bother you that he says that all the time?
Yeah, you know, it's a
It's
pathetic
inside joke.
thing. My son has a beautiful summer home up north, and you know, he goes there maybe 2 times a year, and he can't wait to get back. Listen, I worked hard so that he could have off. I wanted my children to have it made. But he's worse than me. He won't leave there. He won't leave the place. And here he's got this beautiful home. His wife goes up there and takes care of everything for him.
So yeah, everybody in here, raise your hand that gets to go more to the cottage than him.
That's Jody.
Yeah, right there. All right, good. All right, no, I love it. All right, who's better looking? I'm gonna ask Tony.
Okay, I want to answer that one. Okay, now, I know I'd like to say myself, but about last week I went home, I looked in the mirror, and you know who I saw? My dad. So, I better answer, my dad is better looking, because that's me in about 20 years.
No way.
Good answer. We'll take that. All right, so who would be the most famous person, Mayor Ray said, besides him, that has come into the Coney? Because I know there's pictures up there.
Yeah.
Of lots of stories, and you'll tell that story later, maybe. But
Well, I'll tell you a story. A guy walked in one night about 8 o'clock, and he says, "Are you Bill Lipuma?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'd like to speak to you." I said, "Okay." I said, "Sit in the corner." I said, "I'm kind of in a bad mood because I work 12 hours." Well, he asked me a question that I'd rather not say right now. But I did say, I've never heard him say thank you. I've never heard or seen in the paper the word thank you for the money that we give this country every year, billions of dollars. I said I work 12 hours every day. Well, through all this, I find out I made the Christian Science Monitor the front page, the biggest magazine in the world. And that's it. But there's a lot of stories. I've had a guy walked in one time, he says, "Who's Lipuma here?" I said, "I am." He said, "Let's go for a ride." I said, "Who the hell are you?" He said, "I'm Ben Mossman from Big Reds." I said, "Have you ever been there It's that Apple place on 32 Mile Road, first class. He says, I got something for you, ain't gonna cost you a dime. I said, let's go for a ride. I go for a ride, and he gives me 15 feet in the barn where everybody's gotta pass through. Well, you know what? I did so much business. After he tells me, you know, yeah, I don't want a thing. He says, Bill, come on. This guy owns the Somerset Mall with Sam Franco. And I said, geez, you told me it was free, and now you're telling me I got to pay you? And he said, oh, Bill, please, I need it. You need it with all this thing. Anyway, I gave him the money. Then next year he comes in, he says to me, hey, Bill, are you ready to go? I said, Ben, I'm going to tell you. He says, I want half the action. I said, Ben, it's all over. I'm not going to do it. He said, don't give me a heart attack. I said, I'm not. I'm just telling you, I'm not going to give you half. And this is the way I won my life. The business, I ran everything like that. Very unorthodox. I could tell story after story after story.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. Okay, now for the famous people, we've had Martha Stewart, we had Tim Allen, Doc Severinsen from Johnny Carson. You remember him? You're old, Nick. You should remember that. Okay, I got Doc Severinsen, Tim. Who else?
Race car driver.
Brad Kozlowski and his partner. Brad comes in whenever he's in town. He comes in all the time. Who else? We've had a ton. How about what's that guy from Modern Family? Brad, who's that guy from Modern Family?
Eric Stone Street.
Eric Stone Street was in there. We've had a lot of people. But you know who else is? Who the heck was that? What's a Pistons coach? I can't.
Chuck Daly or Flip Saunders?
Yeah, Flip Saunders. Flip Saunders came in one day. That was the old Piston coach. And he says, I want a hot dog with this Cleveland Stadium mustard. I said, what the heck is Cleveland Stadium mustard? So anyways, we talk. I got along good with him. So next he comes in, and he brings me a case of this mustard. And he says, Tony, I want what I want when I come in here. And you know what? And then he said, try putting it on the menu and try selling it. And 10 years later, we're still selling the Flip Saunders dog. He would get the biggest kick out of it because he'd come and take pictures of it on the menu. He was a nice man. Great guy.
No, you're telling that story. I only have 2 more questions, then we're telling stories. All right.
Okay.
All right, so have either of you guys ever at night fished in Paint Creek and used hot dogs on a hook to try to catch a trout?
Yes, they did. Johnny Patterson.
That's a
and I
TV
had
guy.
a picture, and he caught a steelhead, a huge.
Yes, he did.
So if you guys ever need bait, I'll sell you a hot dog.
We'll give him a hot dog.
That was for my buddy Ron. He's all with TU, Michigan TU, so we always kid around, you know, the elitist fly fishermen, but I knew these guys were using hot dogs in the creek to catch them, so I appreciate that. All right, then my last question to story time is, what's your favorite Coney dog?
My favorite, I love the basic dog. Chili, mustard, and onions. And I'll never pass a Coney without stopping and trying it. I love to try it, and I love them. I really love them. I mean, I'm not a meat man.
Coney, but Chicago's a hell of a hot dog too. But Coney is my favorite.
All right, so one of you guys, or together, talk about how you got from Gratiot to get to Rochester. And maybe you, because you went to high school, how'd you end up where you're at? You bought the building. I know you own other buildings, so what you guys don't know about them, they're very connected to the town other than just Lipuma's. Other properties, stuff like that. So go ahead.
Dad, I'll tell a little bit about you, then you take it. Okay, my dad, this is our 50 years old. In 1969, he opened the Coney. But before that, like you said earlier, he had Mondo's on Gratiot. He had Harper when he was a young man. He opened a restaurant in Harper. Then he had Aristotle Coney. In every Christmas, my dad had 5 children, himself and 4 others, five kids in his family. And my grandma would give each kid $5,000. So my dad heard a lot. He was working in Utica and Van Dyke at his Coney, and he heard a lot about Rochester. So he takes a ride out here. He saw the trees, the hills, the river. He said, north of Tinkin, I remember it was farm fields, he'd say, Tony, but he loved it. So he kept on going back and forth, and he found this old condemned building next to the river. And he wanted to buy it. The guy wouldn't sell it. His name was Dick Osborne. So my dad rented it, but the guy wouldn't touch it. My dad would fix the roof, the ceiling, and you go on, tell him, Dad. And then he opened it up, and he did good, very good. And then later on, he bought the piece next to it from Mr. Noor where the deck is now. And you remember Mr. North thought he really got you. I think you paid $5,000 or $10,000 for that piece.
That's another story. Mr. Knorr was a very wealthy man. In fact, when he built a home, after inspection, he'd pull every other stud out, so he saved a lot of money. Well,
Chief, get him.
my mom's house. He owned half the creek, and he owned the lawn next to me. And he says, Bill, you want to buy it? There's only about 6 feet. And I says, what do you want for it? Well, he said 5,000. I gave him 5,000. But then when the city come to build a new bridge, they put a stake in the middle of the creek and said, I said, what's that stake doing there? They said, well, you own half the creek. I says, I own half the creek. I never heard of such a thing. He said, no, this is from an old survey years ago. The people in the Paint Creek Bar didn't know about it. The people by the Nugget didn't know about it. But so when they put their equipment in my water, they gave us 6 figures putting their equipment in my water, and I paid 5,000. But because we love this city so much, my son said, he said, Dad, let's give them an easement so the people can walk in the park from Main Street. And we did that. We gave them a walking easement. The other side has the stairs, but I gave them the easement, my son did too, to go in the park. Because I felt bad that I had charged them that money. But
I'm sure you felt real bad.
Okay, Tony, so what else?
What else? What else?
Oh, well, anyways, I went to St. Clair Shores. I had a place there. I did very well, but I was a drifter. And one time a guy by the name of, and I was doing big business in St. Clair Shores. A guy by the name of Tony Fortuna was a potato chip man. And I asked him one time, I love donuts. I have an obsession and I can't eat them no more. I asked him, Tony, can you stop any time and get a coffee and a donut? He said, hell yeah, there's nobody stopping me. You know what? I called my cousin who was a big shot at Farmer Jack. And I said, Jack, I want a job at Frito-Lay potato chips. He said, you gotta be kidding. So when I went there, they asked me all kinds of questions, and the guy said, you want to buy the place or do you want to work here? I said, no, I want to work here. That's
For a free donut.
I love donuts, and I visualize stopping and having a donut and a cup of coffee all the time. I thought that would be heaven. Till this day, I study the donuts in every store I go, and I can't eat them. I have a touch of sugar.
Dan, did you ever think that we would be selling as many hot dogs as we do now? Like on a good day, we sell 1,200, 1,500 hot dogs.
I was going to ask you how many.
It isn't. You know what's a crazy statistic? Is I calculated, and I was conservative, and I figured 650 hot dogs a day for 50 years, minus the days off. You know how many hot dogs we sold through our 50 years? Over 11 million hot dogs. Isn't that something?
Anyway, listen, I want to tell you a story.
Yeah, stick it to the restaurant. A story with the restaurant.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
This is the restaurant. One day my wife was sitting there, and a lady comes in with 3 children. And one little girl looked like little orphan Annie. So I'm sitting there, and they ordered 1 hot dog, 1 plain hot dog, and 1 pop with 5 straws. I looked at them, and when they were eating the hot dog, they split the hot dog up, and the little girl, she gets a fork and she's scraping the paper. There was nothing on the paper, and she was putting it to her mouth. And I said, Mary, something's the matter here. It was just before Halloween. So I go up to the lady, I said, hey, can I buy the kids something for Halloween? She says, go ahead. So I said, kids, you know what, Halloween is coming. I want to get you a hot dog because I'm not going to be around on Halloween. They just looked at me, okay. I give them a hot dog. Then I said, God, they don't have a pop. I told my wife. Well, my wife started crying and went in the back room. So I go back to the kids again. Kids, now listen, yeah, I know you want something for Halloween. So I says, I'm going to give you a pop and some French fries. Oh, she says, you're making their day. I says, well, thank you. And the little one, without the tooth, and she had a skirt that come down her ankles. She goes, she was very happy. Honest, that story's in the most. My wife's crying right now.
Okay, I'll tell you another story. How much do people love our Coney? One day I'm walking out the deck door, and I see a guy right by the deck door eating lunch. And next to him was a wooden box. He had it right on the table. And I said, what is this? I mean, what's this box? He says, Tony. I thought it was I don't know if it was his father or his brother died, and he got cremated.
Oh.
And before they put him to rest, he wanted the last meal at Lipuma's Coney Island. And that is the God's truth. And I'll tell you another story. We all know.
Did he put the ashes on the hot dog?
No. I'll tell you another story. Everyone knows John and Mary Modetz. They're wonderful people. Their parents, Mary's dad and mom, loved our place. Loved it. So Mary's dad passed away, and I'm standing by the casket. She says, Tony, you know what? He has your t-shirt on. I said, what? So she unbuttoned his white shirt, and he had a Lipuma's Coney Island t-shirt on. Swear to God.
That is great, Tom. That is great.
Right, so you guys have watched the river run through it, right?
Yes.
And Bill will call me every spring for two things. Nick, excuse my French, God damn it, the weeds are growing so high, I can't even see inside of my thing. Right? So every year we go out there, poor Carl, our park superintendent, and Colin, and it was Johnny Fuller, would go out, okay, Bill, you want a hot dog? No, we're just working. And Carl is allergic to poison ivy. And guess what? Everything on that bank is poison ivy.
Yeah,
so poor Bill makes our guys get poison ivy.
Yeah,
every single
they're
spring.
great guys. Listen, the city, listen, I love the city. The city, I know you do too. You know, you've got to love it to walk around. And the people are so nice. The police are good. You know, the people have a thing against the police. Well, one time I saw a guy come in, he had a pistol. And I said, geez, he's got a pistol. So I called the police, and the police come. And man, we had 10 cars out there in 5 seconds. And the guy didn't have it, but he gave me that impression. He goes in the bathroom, one's looking this way. But listen, I got to tell you one more story. I got to tell you one more story. A guy pulls up in a Cadillac one day, camel hair coat, beautiful shoes, dressed to kill it. He says, Mr. Lipuma, I hear you like to invest in things. I said, yes, I do. He says, well, here, I've got something. So he brings in a for sale sign for a home. And it tells you right on there, turn your radio to 248. It tells you right away the amount of bedrooms, how much they want for it, what shape it's in. And I thought, because I was looking for a house and I just love it. When you have to go home and call up. So I says, geez, that sounds good. He says, Bill, the holiday is coming, so don't let me down. Let me know right away. So I got a group together and I said, hey guys, I think this thing is good. You can use it in a supermarket. The beans are aisle 2. You know, you can do anything. This restaurant special tonight is prime rib. So what I did was I says, I'll get the guys together tomorrow. So I got the guys that day, and they all thought, yeah, that sounds pretty good. You know what happened? Just before the holiday, they turned the deal down. And I thought he may have forgotten about the whole thing. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that is one day I bring whiskey in, and I give my customers all a shot of whiskey on Christmas Eve. And this guy he comes walking in, and I said, God, I couldn't believe it. So, and I'm feeling good myself at that time. I could drink it. So I said, let's go to A&P. A&P store was right next door. So I said, grab a basket. I'm feeling good and emotional also, because I feel sorry for people that, you know, need something like that. So I said, go on, start picking. So we go to the turkey thing, he picks out a little turkey. I said, give me that damn card. And I honestly, I was getting tears in my eyes. I went there, I grabbed him, everything. That basket was like this. He says, Lipuma, I'll never ever pay you back. I says, I'm not asking you to pay me back. I want to do it for you. And that's the way it ended. He never come in again. You see, but I thought that was a nice story on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, tell them the story about what the guy used to with the horse in the backyard.
Oh, listen, we had a Navy chief next door to us, torpedoed 3 times. And he was the last man to get rescued because he wanted his men all saved. Well, this guy lived in this town. I don't want to give you his name, but he was a hero. But from the war, he was kind of mental, something mental. He was a great golfer, used to wear shorts, and he wore a big fishnet on his head.
Tell him where he lived and the horse and all
He
that.
lived on the back of our property, on the grass, and my onion sacks is what he slept on. And if I got a box of something, we had a big box, he'd sleep in the box. He even made a pond there with goldfish. And
But Dad, the Dillman and Upton got his pension shot.
yeah, Gilman and Upton took care of his pension checks, and I took care of all his medical records when he retired. He was a great guy. But one time, one Sunday morning, I was leasing the building next door to the Army for recruiting, and they let him sleep in there because he was a hero, and they figured he could sleep in there, have a place to sleep. Well, he used to bring a lot of guys in to sleep in there, guys who walked around town. So one guy drops off a pony and gives him a pony on a Sunday morning, and he gave him the bridle and everything, and the cops come. He said, what the hell are you doing? He's walking around, he put the net on the horse's head, he put the shoes on backwards, and he's walking in the empty lot. So the police said, come on, I want that horse. If I get that horse, you know what he does? He runs in the building and brings the horse with him. He told the cops, you can't come to government property. But he eventually had to get rid of the horse.
Did you guys ever have to throw anybody out of Lipuma's?
Oh yeah, I did about 2 weeks ago.
What happened?
What happened was this. I get there in the morning, and my deliveries come on Tuesday. And I had to go pick up some fries, 20 cases of fries. So I was parked in the handicap. Sorry, Chief. But I wasn't open yet. So anyways, this guy pulls up, and he eats in the restaurant every once in a while. He says, whose red truck is that in the handicap? I said, it's mine. I said, I had to unload 20 cases of fries. And he goes, you know, my wife had to walk around your car. I said, you know, I had to unload the fries. So he goes up, he's talking to the guys, still bitching. He comes back to me and he starts complaining to me again. And I finally couldn't take it anymore. And I said, you know what, buddy, get the hell out of here. And my wife got mad at me. She says, Tony, you could have handled this a better way.
Now you won't believe this.
Oh, God.
A lady calls me up one day, and I answer the phone, and she says, do you have any Beyond soup? No, what's that she said?
I don't want to say this one.
She said, do you have any chicken soup or Beyond soup? I was just thinking the thing, and I says, no, we have chicken. I can't believe that's the way I thought. But listen, kids, listen.
Oh, Dan, hey, I got another story, and this has to do with the chief over here.
Oh,
the other day, not about 3
Fire
weeks
chief,
ago,
John
the
C's
fire
grave over
chief.
there.
Maybe
Yeah,
you should
yeah.
cover your.
Wait, how many years you been a fire chief? I mean, the fireman?
43 years.
So he's ate a lot of hot.
He's eating a lot of hot dogs.
He's eating a lot of hot dogs.
But anyways, we had a line to the bridge. It was jammed. And all of a sudden, my fryer catches on fire. And the flames are 3 feet high. Now, most people, if the place was on fire, they'd be getting the hell out of there. Fire trucks, 2 fire trucks pull in. You know, not one person left alive. The place is on fire. And no one is leaving. Everyone's still ordering their hot dog. They ain't give a darn. And that's a true story.
I like
How it
that.
was, Tony, is they told my guys to get in line.
All right, who came up with the when you get a tip, you ring the bell?
It was a guy that used to work for us, Johnny Patterson. And I mean, it's unbelievable. The people, if they put a buck in there and they don't ring the bell, the bell. People will correct us. I didn't hear the bell. I didn't hear the bell.
So what's the longest line that we've had down the street? I've
Over
seen
the
it.
bridge.
Over the
We've
bridge.
been over the bridge to the tavern.
So I get asked all the time, so why can't they put a little entranceway or something so we don't have to stand outside in the rain and stuff, even though everybody
But that's
does.
part of that. And you know what? And you see people come in. No one is mad. You know, everybody that comes in there, they don't mind. It's part of the ambiance of the joint.
They're happy.
They're happy.
They're really
I mean, you look in our place. You go to 99% of the restaurants. People are in there and they're eating. You come in our place, look around. Everybody is smiling. It's crazy. I mean, it's like Marty Tuckman, who used to own the Beef Bar. He says, Tony, everybody wants to own a joint, and you own a joint. And we always talk about taking the other side because we own the whole building, making it bigger. But I think we'd lose if we took it. We'd lose the feel of that joint. It's a hot little. We just put tons of people. It fascinates me how many people we put through every day.
Tony, you got to tell them that we do the university, we do Critton Hospital, we do catering, but
Hot dog cart.
We're gonna have hot dogs after this. I'm gonna make hot dogs for
listen,
everybody.
there's hot dogs for everybody. You got to try our hot dogs.
No, keep going. Dan, think of some. What other stories you got about the restaurant? What about the restaurant?
So I know the Pistons. So everybody that's been in there, how hard is it to get in and out of a booth without crotching yourself? I don't know how to do that. So I saw a Piston guy in there, like 6'10". I'm thinking he's taking a carry out. There's no way he's sitting in the booth. But Pistons came in there, Rebels come in there.
Oh, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. They love it, and I never bother them. In fact, Bob Seger was in, and he comes in every once in a while. He came in, and instead of me asking, "Can I take your picture?" he said to me, "Do you mind if I take your guy's picture?" I said, "Yeah, go ahead."
I love it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I got to tell you another story. One night I went home and I had to go back to the restaurant. It was dark out and I started to go in the restaurant and I look up the stairs where I'm going up and there's a big knight there, about an 8-foot knight with a spear and a big apron, and it said, "This is the Phantom. I will bring another thing in 6 months, another blanket that he puts on the spear in 6 months." I said, "Holy smoke, there could be a guy in there." I go to the police department and I say, "Hey guys, you got to come over. There might be somebody inside there, I don't know." He said, "Okay, we'll go." So I called the police go with me, and I said, "Check it out, check to see if somebody's in there or not." So he checks it out.
Did it was Julie's dad. Julie Champagne's dad
It's
played a
Julie.
joke on you.
It was Julie, dad, and I didn't know nothing for a year. And then another flag come one time, but I did put the thing out front, and on the sword on top, I put a hot dog, a coney. Well, he said, "Lipuma, you got to take that down. You're causing accidents."
Dad, how about when they worked on the bridge? They had the sidewalk worked up their own,
Yes.
and then we had planks, and there was sewage, and the people were standing
People
on the
were
planks.
walking on planks to get there. And you know what? I'm very proud of. I was the only one from the city that got a helmet from the workers, and I was allowed to go any place on that job because you know we treated them nice. We gave pop and hot dogs. They were so good to us, and I felt so sorry for them, how hard they worked. But
But look, during the holidays, even during the summer, we get people from all over the country. During Christmas, we get people from all over the world. And I tell my dad, I said, and they'll say to me, "You know, Tony, I came here before I went home to see my mom and dad." I said, "These people," and it's the truth. And I said, "God, these people must be thinking of this place, flying on the airplane over. It's crazy. And look at that place. It's the size of a garage. It's a little, but the people really, it's their place. It's not like when I changed the door or when my dad had it. When I took it over, I kind of remodeled. I raised the ceiling, I put the oak up, and I called my wife that night. None of the pictures were on the wall. I said, "Geez, Jody, I think I messed up." It didn't have the feel. But the people for a while they complained a little bit, but now but it's their place. It's the town's restaurant. It's like Chrissy has in the magazine all the time. It's a tradition in the city of Rochester.
and we love you all. told you that
A
before.
newspaper article you're supposed to talk about.
We think,
Christy said you're supposed to talk about that.
You got a newspaper article you want to read?
yeah, I wanna,
Okay, read it, and we'll end it with
I
that.
want to read one article to you, and this is from, I don't know, 18 something.
No, it was 85, 1985. I believe.
18 something.
It says, yeah, 85, Tony?
Yeah, 1985.
Okay, it says here, this will be short. Eat, pay, and get out. They laugh. You've got to appreciate a little more tongue-in-cheek. We serve the worst coffee in the USA, declares a percolated prone sign in Lipuma's, a downtown Rochester dog domicile. Owner Bill Lipuma and his son Tony laugh at the wording, which may dismay cafe freaks. On Coney Island, it's an expression of style. It isn't just a matter of hanging a sign in the window. You've got to be sort of a showman. I was a showman, and still am, Lipuma growls sincerely. One can easily envision Lipuma counseling B.T. Barnum on a Coney Island bravado. His voice looms, booms, twists and shouts as he chomps a cigar, punctuating particularly emotional phrases with airborne stogie jabs in the air. The veteran dog man boasts 25 years of Coney slinging experience throughout Wayne County, Macomb, and Oakland counties. Oh, I forgot I had a place in Lapeer, too. The veteran dogman boasts 25 years of Coney slinging experience throughout Wayne, Oakland counties. He tells a worthy of Horatio to illustrate the beginnings as a young, sly dog. Just hold that for 1 minute. I'm coming to the end. But this was my life. This is the way I did things. From the seat of my pants. That's what I did everything. And we ran very unorthodox. Okay, here it goes here again. When I was 14, I knew I wanted to go into the food line. So I went to a Coney Island downtown, begged the owner for a job, and worked 6 months for free, just to learn the business. I don't envy anybody going into this business. But if you want freedom to go and do as you please, you've got to go into the business for yourself. It depends what a man wants in life. Do you want the nicer things in life, or do you want a six-pack and a TV? If his estimated dog sale tallies are accurate, Lipuma certainly knows how the dog goes down. We could do about 1,000 dogs on a good day, he says. Many Coney establishments contacted don't crank that much in an entire week. How does Lipuma account for such success? For one thing, it takes family. He points to his son Tony, who's dogging the grill site. The Greeks and Chinese know this. In this place, the whole family is here, busting our tuchus from morning till night. And personally
Say
count.
took us in there?
No,
I
I had
don't
the other one, Jay.
Oh, ass. Oh, ass.
Like, so, people from all walks of life come here. Poor, the rich. I've had those parked in front. People from Pine now. Doc Severinson gave me his picture. He signed it. Bill, you are the king. Lipuma is a bona fide character who'll chew the fat with anybody who comes in, and I still do, because I'm interested in people. I want to know what you eat, when you go to bed, what's your family life. I'm nosy. I wish I could get every one of you here and get your life story, because I love that. That is humanity. Okay, so opposed to general. Okay, personal character and identity is a premier drawing for the last junk food rebels. You go into fast food, they don't know your name, but you go to the Pumas and they know your name.
Yeah. All right, beautiful.
And you know what? We talked about this whole front porch project and what we are, and we take great pride in the fact that we are not, and this is no dig on any other community. We have malls, we have village places, but we're mom and pop. Our town is boutique. Everybody but these guys doesn't make a lot of money, I think, inside the up and downtown. But the dedication of what Bill talked about, when you walk into their store, if I go there, and Kim and I go in there, you want to see them. You want to feel their warmth. You want to have them ask you how your day was. And that's America. That's how America used to be. That's what front porches used to be. You knew your neighbor, you talked to them, and these guys, it's like going to a front porch when you go to their restaurant. So
I want to say something. We have a wonderful town, and it's not just because of someone once told me the economy is what makes our town. It's so hot. You know, I just became a member of the DDA, was it a year or two ago? Something like that, 2 years. And I see we have a great team. The council is great, the DDA, Christy and her group, this girl kills herself. I have meetings with her at 8 in the morning, and I have meetings with her, and she's still working at 8 and 9 at night. There's a reason why this town is hopping the way it is, and it's not luck. We have a great team behind the scenes. I never knew what everybody did. I mean, it blows me away. You got Mark, you got Nick. Nick knows everything about this town. But there's a reason this town is so hot, and these two make a big part of it.
You know, Nick here, he's a great guy. He's a quiet guy, don't say much. But he does so much for our city, I'm telling you. He's very serious. This is serious business for him. And he's
Mark, tell me to get this on.
I appreciate him, I really do.
And you know what, people, for me, my dad was a public servant for 50 years. What he told me is, people earn your respect. These guys have earned mine. I hope I've earned yours.
Yes.
Yes.
And this town respects each other, and that's why we do so good. So, Christy, I'm going to do one waggle here. 3 people can ask a question if they want.
Sure.
And because we'll keep it pretty much on time here.
Just try to repeat it for the taping.
Okay, we can do that. So, is anybody got, what color underwear do they wear? Boxers or briefs? I don't care. All right, there we go.
How old are each of you?
Oh, how old are each of you?
I'm 88.
89 in December.
42.
I am 29. No, I'm 59.
Lots of years left to go on hot dog.
Lots of years.
All right, anybody else? Good. Stop. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, my daughter.
This could be a problem.
Will you ever franchise Lipuma's?
Well, the question is, will they ever franchise?
One day my dad put a sign up in the restaurant, franchise is available. He had 400 names in 30 days. And my daughter, who works at Google, she's pushing me. She says, Dad, you got to franchise this place. You got to franchise. I don't know if you could reproduce that place. I don't know.
No.
Then my wife always tells me, Tony, if you retire, we're moving. She goes, it'll kill you to drive by that restaurant. It probably would.
Anybody else? Oh, here we go.
Do you still own other restaurants?
No, this is the only one we own.
Just the one. It's his restaurant. It's his restaurant.
That's the only one we have. And that's enough. Jody, is that enough, one restaurant? Ask my wife. She doesn't see me.
He's never home. Never. It's
But I
terrible.
love, a lot of people hate what they do. Jody, do I love what I do? She says, Tony, if you had a bed in the back room, I would never see you. Thank God she's so understanding. There's mornings I leave at 6:37 in the morning, and I don't get home till 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Every night.
Any other burning questions? Oh,
Giving any kind of a gift out, like free hot dogs for life?
Yeah, we got hot dogs tonight. We got hot dogs today.
We got hot dogs for everybody.
wait, say it
So I
again.
hope you
Wait,
all
Dad.
try.
Wait, hang on, wait a minute.
Stand back.
Oh.
Stand back.
What'd she say?
Davy Groban.
What do you say?
Davy Groban?
I've been going there since that day.
Oh yeah, that's Snell. The day he opened. In fact,
Oh,
his
since the
mother
day
and
he
father ate in our restaurant all the time. They were wonderful people. The nicest people in the world. The Snells.
Snell.
Yeah.
He
We
wants a free
have
hot
free
dog
hot.
for
You
what?
can eat as many as you can tonight.
On the hot dogs on.
All right, so let's wrap it up. So, Christy, tell me if I'm not right. So when we recruited, you got one back there?
One last question. Which is your favorite puppy dog?
Yeah, they said, yeah, you didn't hear that earlier. One more
We
time.
Coney. We like the Coney with everything. But the second dog is at Chicago. I don't know if you guys ever tried the Chicago. The second dog is a Chicago.
That's my wife.
It's a refreshing hot dog. It's a delicious hot dog. Okay, Megan
Bill, what
Brown.
was your favorite? He likes all conies.
I love all hot dogs.
All right, so what I let, oh, yes.
Who's gonna take over after my Uncle Tony?
Ooh. Who's going to take over after Uncle Tony?
Only time will tell. I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that. I don't know.
At 59, we don't have to worry about it for a
Yeah,
while.
I got another 30 years.
Yeah. All right, so what I find, we'll wrap it up here. What I'd like to find, and Christy backed me on this one. So when we went to Tony and said, you got to get involved somehow. Mark, you were hammering him. The mayor was hammering him. We're like, you got to get involved. He's like, I'm kind of shy, and I don't have much of a voice. And so when what's our favorite moments during the DDA meetings? And Tony put himself on the PSD, which is the Principal Shopping District, which is a bunch of women on a board that are very vocal. And here's Tony sitting there, but when it's his turn to make his presentation, we have to turn all the speakers down, and he booms out this giant report every single first Monday or whenever we have our DDA meeting. So he's been a godsend to have on, and people, when they're successful people that give their time, I know he doesn't have much time, but we appreciate that. And we appreciate the time you spend during the day at the restaurant, so we know people are going to keep going there because they want to see you too. And that's very important to us. So everybody, thank you I think this is a huge success.
Thank you.